respected VIPs, Datuk Dr. Dennis Surya, Miss Zualang, and speakers, esteemed guests and participants and volunteers, of course. How can I forget? Okay, so today is going to be a dialogue session with me. I'll be your moderator and together with Miss Lucy here. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen is our theme for today is called the connectors. This dialogue session's theme is called the connectors. And so youths are generally, there's a consensus that youths are between the age of 12 to 30. But of course, I'm sure that some of you are way past that. But let's say, let's just believe that, youthfulness is different from youth. Youthfulness is a matter of the heart. So with that, can we all have a consensus that all of us are youthful? All right. Okay, that's the energy. Come on. Okay. So before that, I'd like to just test your youthfulness here because I feel like I need to play a game with you. So you'll know my craftiness after this. Okay, so I hope you guys know. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it and you really want to show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. Okay, I stopped you there. You know why? Because I want our volunteers to identify who clapped during that time. So, those who clapped during that time, you will be called out to ask a question to our esteemed speakers. Okay, so that's our deal here today, okay? So, our volunteers, please feel free to pick out anyone who you saw accidentally went like that or something, so that we have questions for our esteemed speakers here, okay? So, today, our speakers are 3 people. Number 1 is 2 people are online and 1 person is physical with me. So let me introduce them to you. First, we have Faiz. Faiz, where are you, Faiz? Hi, Faiz. Okay, hi. So Faiz is from UM and I invite him over to the stage. Okay, so while he's walking, let me introduce you to the Zoom participants or Zoom speakers. First off, we have Joyien from JCI, and finally Pristine, also from JCI. So, hi, say hi to everyone. Okay, so with that, let's begin our session today. So, Faiz, take a seat. Okay, our session today will be a little bit on... Our session today will be a little bit of an interactive session, a dialogue session with me and Faiz. So again, even if you didn't clap, you'll be called. So better prepare your questions, okay? Okay, so Faiz.
All right.
How are you?
I'm good so far.
Okay. So basically, what I identified from our 3 speakers was that, number 1, Faiz provides a big picture, a big framework, while Joyien provides us a framework, a specified strategy on how we can connect. Finally, Pristine. Pristine is the living example of what we call or what we are talking about when we say youth as change makers. So, with that, Faiz, tell me about yourself, your background, and what have you done for this big picture project.
All right. So, very good morning to everyone. Greetings, I'm Faiz, but I love to go with the name of Faiz Yazid. Yazid is my father's name, by the way, so just call me Faiz. So, I am currently a first year undergraduate degree student of economics program at University Malaya. just ranked 70 in the world yesterday by QS World Ranking. Give a big applause to All right. So I have been involved with research and publications, particularly in my academic journey since I was 14 years old, Form 2 in secondary education. And yeah, that's pretty much it about me.
All right. So Faiz, your screen is up for your slides. So basically what we're going to do is I want you to introduce what you have done for your empowerment or for your journey as to localize SDGs or even the big picture that you have provided. So, with that, Faiz, over to you.
All right, thank you, Philus. So may I have the slide with us today?
Yes, before as they take it up, why don't you tell us a bit of what you are and how you have reached this place as a researcher?
All right.
As your background.
So, long story short, while they are setting up, I have been involved back then when I was 10 years old with the Permata program. I hope everyone sort of have a glimpse of knowledge for this Permata program, or maybe Permata program have been officiated by Yang Amat Berbahagia Datin Paduka Sri Rosmah Mansur back then as the patron of the Permata program. So Permata program aims to give such early childhood education for the students, and I am and was one of the products of the Permata program. And my expertise, I would say, in Permata up till now is to be aligned with the research activities and all those publications or academic things, I would say. Yeah.
I see. So, okay. So we have the slides now.
All right.
Are you ready?
All right, sure.
Okay,
Sure thing.
so over to you again. Back to the slides.
All right, thank you so much, Philus, once again. And also everyone, today, first and foremost, I would like to thank the organizers and also the co-organizers and all the supporting partners, together with all the audience that I would believe have such effort to and have our concern and same ideology of bringing and localizing SDGs to Malaysia. So, am I? All right. I think maybe I just did. All right. Next slide, please. So, on science versus art, I would really love to pop up this, because back then in Malaysian education, especially in secondary school, I believe everyone at least experienced this once. When people say you are the brightest student, you need to choose STEM pathway compared to arts pathway, etc., etc. So to avoid any conflict of interest, I am a pure science stream background back then, but here I am today pursuing economics. But that's not the issue, I personally believe that in the drama of art versus science, I be the more a wholesome person, the more a holistic person, because STEM is good. STEM prepares you for the job in the future, but arts will add the value, will help you to add the dimension of creativity and make you thinking outside of the box. So next slide, please. Because my sharing session today will be on building my own collective, and I hope from this phrase that I popped out at the end of my sharing session, you will start to ponder what's your own collective. So therefore, I come out with 3 questions to make you wonder along with my session. The first one is, where are we now? Where are we heading to? And what could the future look like? So, next slide. Where are we now? And what have we pledged so far? Because what's my role in this sharing session is to provide you the bigger picture. As I am one of the researcher, what's most matter is for, like what Jasmine pointed out before, we have such huge gap in the policy making and what the execution of the people should really notice about. So this is what, I hope from my sharing session, you at least get a glimpse of knowledge and a little bit awareness on what Malaysia R&D ecosystem is all going about and where are we heading to. So the first one, we have Vision 2020 or Wawasan 2020, where the aim is to be a developed nation by 2020. Now we are 2 years ahead of that 2020 year. Then we do have the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 2030, where people or the countries all around the world is looking forward to it with the next, I think, less than 8 years. But in Malaysia itself, it's not only SDG 2030 that we are looking forward, but we have our own agenda, so-called Wawasan Kemakmuran Bersama or Shared Prosperity Vision, to become or reduce the disparities of economic structure within the race and economic society. So next, please. Therefore, by having these three pillars or three national agenda, back then in 2020, the Foresight Alliance by Academy Science of Malaysia came out with a report so-called Foresighting Malaysia 2050, because the aim of the report is what Malaysia research should be and should look like, and in order to contribute towards three pillars, which is the harmonious, prosperous, and sustainable nation in 2050. So in 2020, MUSTI, or the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, came out with another new idea, so-called integrative parts of the research, which is 1010 My STIE framework. So, talking about STIE, yes. All right. Then, because of those alliance and what we call so-called, back then we know the term of STEM, stream, STEAM, whatever people are trying to integrate the science, technology into the education system. It's not even that, into the policy system and the whole ecosystem of Malaysia. But then I will say this is a bright or clear framework by MUSTI, came out with the term of STIE. They won't be STEM alone, but stands for science, technology, innovation, that all will improvise the economy, the STIE agenda. So next slide, please. So why 1010? I will say this is one of the piece of the 1010 My STIE framework from MUSTI, where 10 on horizontal lines is the possible future technologies, and 10 on the vertical line is on what field to be integrated. If you see, the 10 and 10 from each side is integrate to 1 point. And for today onwards, what I want to share with what my research had done is build my own collective of integration part. One thing that I circle is business and finance technology, and also neurotechnology. Because on my research, I would like to share on how data play roles in making decision, and why it's not only a theoretical part, and how to make it such comes into reality and practicalities. So next slide, please. So this is my research. This is one of the results that I want to present to you, where this is a research partnership by McDonald's Malaysia. As you can see, even the picture a bit blurred, but it is a sneak peek or a chunk from McDonald's trailer or McDonald's advertisement of Malaysia. So my research helped to integrate between neurotechnology and the marketing part, where we used electroencephalography device, a headband, a headgear that helped to record the brainwave signal. In this market research, the normal market research, I would say we are going with survey and the normal outer psychology can measure. But survey and respondents and responses from respondents throughout qualitative or quantitative data will be inaccurate some way somehow, because tons of biasness comes into the judgment. But brainwave cannot lie. People cannot lie through brainwave signals. So this particular research come out with the data to measure which specific McDonald's advertisement is really effective in clicking the consumers buying or decision making to purchase McD. So as you can see, the lighter green part is on how people can actually store or maybe theoretically store the scene in short-term memory. You know, then we come to the conclusion that that particular scene is effective. For example, the red scene of McDonald's logo. Surely people will remember that, right? So so when there is no light green wave shown in the data, that means the scene is less effective compared to the others. So what the point here is, it's not about my solely on research, but how actually I built my own collective, where the integrating part is comes together. Where Jasmine also before previously stated on how arts and science should be integrated somehow. And this way, we prove that actually the 1010 My STI agenda of coming into integration between field and even the SDGs connector should come together. You know, there's no one goal works alone, but it should come to the collective and integrative goals that work towards the main agenda. So in this case, it is also contribute to the SDG 8, the decent economy of work, where we said or we claim AI will hijack the future workforce. But then data analysts or come out with the neurotechnologies can come to the new job creation of the future, and how actually from psychology can integrate with even computer science, I would say. So this is the integrating part or integrative parts that we need to celebrate nowadays. So next slide, please. So this is one of the Foresight Alliance of Malaysia, Academy Science Malaysia envision about. You know, in a nutshell, they foresight the Malaysia that we want to be, which is a smart community by 2050. But you know, what's most matter is the elders nowadays, in the one in future policy making, the experts should make the policy right in its place, you know, because it is undeniable. We need all those experienced people with their wisdoms, with their experience to come and bring out a proper policy. But who will inherit the system? All of us, the youth, should come into place, engage in today's discussion like the SDG Summit of Malaysia, because we will be the one who come out and foresee the integrating part and how to build our own collective in order to towards the main goal of prosperous, sustainable, and harmonious future. Yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you.
Thank
you, Faiz. So, a little something that I just realized 5 seconds ago when Faiz was presenting was that, you know, when we youths look up to organizations or the policy makers, we expect them to give us the proper guideline and the structure when we do things. So similarly, what Faiz generally would, correct me if I'm wrong, but the summary of it is that when we as policy makers or organization leaders as policy makers, when we provide services or when we are integrating and collectively looking at youth development or whatever it is, sustainable goals development, what we do is we have to look at the big picture. We have to look at how different areas of lives can be integrated to achieve your goal. And therefore, isn't that what the aim or the objective of APPGM is? Or even the summit today? Because I just thought of Ms. Zoel, because that she was able to integrate all of us from different departments and start to integrate and collectively use us as persons in charge for different parts by identifying the talents and respective perspectives of each individual. So that is what is important when it comes to policymakers, and that is the big picture that we are looking at. So, thank you, Faiz. And what about what's the next step? You want to know the next step? Let's listen to Joyien for the perspective of how do we strategize and what is the proper framework that we can use, and what has Joyien herself adopted in her organization. Joyien, are you there with me?
Can you hear me?
Joyien?
Hi, can you hear?
Okay, one more.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Perfect.
Okay, thank you, Philus and Faiz, for very great sharing, because this is what we foresee, that we are the youth, we are the leader of today to change the future for tomorrow. So once again, thank you so much for inviting us and giving us so amazing opportunity to have this chance to share something with all of you. So I'm Joyien. Before we start, can I ask for your help, Phyllis?
Yes, Joyien, could you repeat that again?
Yep, I need to seek for your help. I'm going to ask the audience one question, and can you help me to read the reaction
yes,
from the
of
audience?
course. Perfect. So, audience, are you with us? So, Joyien would like to ask you a question, and we would like to get your responses. Is everyone okay? Give me a thumbs up if you're okay with that. All right, Joyien, every response is good. Perfect. Continue.
Okay, great. So let me share my slide. So I want to ask all of the audience here and also in the Zoom, in the FB as well. Do you believe that we can change the world? If you believe, please raise out your hand. And for the Zoom and FB, you just click the like and give a thumbs up if you do believe that we can change the world.
Do you believe that you can change the world? Joyien, we have approximately fully 100% who believes that they can change the world.
Wow, perfect. Yes, I do believe as well. Because when I joined JCI back then, when I'm 20 years old, since then I have been witness so many young people so creatively, they change the world in their own way. So today we are going to share with you how they actually make it by just starting localizing SDG. As a starter, I would like to show you some good examples of the influencing people who actually changed the world since they are young. Until today, they are still very impactful whenever they give us some statements. First, we have Tan Sri Michelle Yeoh. I think most of us know her, right? So she did share that our environment are a mirror reflections of what is going on in our clothes is a mirror that reflection of what is going on in our environments. This brings a very big impact to myself as well. Do we aware that how our clothes be made from the cottons to the clothes and how this actually impacts the environments? This reflect as well that do we know that those process actually hurt our environment and also the society that surrounding those factory. So when we buy a clothes, these normal actions in our daily life, we need to reflect as well. Do we really need that clothes? And when we buy, are we actually contributes to harming our environments? So this is one of the statements that very impactful recently. And next, I would like to share Mr. Seah Kian Ho, who is actually born in Karang family. Karang family. Despite he is not ashamed of his family business, and when he was a kid, he come up with ideas that I want to make the world better through his family business. So he came out of 17 patterns that able to change those ocean plastic into smart plastics. And all of this start with the idea when he was a kid. And he made it become reality until today, using a business way to help and save our environments. Can you imagine how many households have been helped in this journey? Last but not least, I call her young warrior because she was born with illness and sick. Obviously, she had a lot of prejudice and discriminations, but she didn't let it control her. But in other way, she break it through and also educates the public that if we able to stop prejudice and discriminations, we save lives. My friends, can you imagine this? When we just stop discrimination and prejudice, we can save others' life. So this is all the ideas that we can actually do in our normal life that even we did not aware that small action we can change the world. So what is their common point actually? Obviously, they are all Malaysians, and they are all our JCI Malaysian 10 outstanding young Malaysians. And what's made them different with us is they start the actions. So in JCI, every year we have been witness hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, many creative ideas and projects being born because they start the actions. And why and how we did it. We have 73 local organizations throughout the Malaysia, every year creating a lot of the projects with one mission to provide development opportunities that empower young people to create positive change using only one framework. We call it JCI Action Frameworks. So today, we believe that uniting all sectors, we can achieve SDG together. So just now we have a lot of speakers sharing their own ideas on how they do the projects. Yes, please keep it on. And for those now who have the ideas, but you don't know how to make those ideas become a reality, we are introduce you this action framework. Please feel free to use it, because this is a framework that even myself, when I was a new member for 1 week, I am able to carry out the projects because of this guideline. So how actually this framework use it? First, identify the needs. Look at around of your surrounding and see what we can be better. A great example that I have been carrying out an OKU project, which is called disabilities projects. I have a disabilities friend and I asked him, what can make your life better? And he said, the public, it's very hard for us to get a normal job and no proper educations. So this is the needs that we want to solve. So we need to solve the root cause. We keep asking why. We ask the stakeholders, those disability. We ask the business, we ask the school, because they know better than us. And then after asking around, we found out that the root cause is actually the awareness is not there. People think that disabilities or OKU cannot work because they are OKU. But actually with those facilities and also technology, they can do a normal job like us. Even my friend just now is a blind person. He is able to take care of Facebook page. Can you imagine that blind person can take care of Facebook page? So the awareness is the root cause that people don't know. So after we found out the root cause, keep asking why until we found the root cause, then we come out the projects, we come out with the actions. Again, invite those stakeholders, invite your team, invite for those who believe as what you believe together on solving this purpose, this root cause together. We develop the list of actions that we are going to make. At the same time, design out what is the desired outcome we want to see by the end of these projects. So list out the budget, list out the actions, list out the possible partnerships, and how we're going to make it, the timeline, etc. Next, a great plan is just a plan if without actions. So my friends, take actions that make impacts. Carry out your plan, do whatever we do, and then record down all the possible outcomes. And afterward, review it. I heard from many young people that they're afraid to fail. But actually, remember this, KFC try 1,000 times to get a one correct recipe. Same here, in order to solve the root cause, we need to have multiple try and errors. And that's how innovation comes in. And that's how we actually a step nearer towards to our root cause. So that's the review parts making in. Review what is going on, do we achieve it? Maybe some, maybe not. And then why we are not achieving, what is missing. So JCI action framework work like this. After we analyze, we develop, execute, review. And then if we are not achieve the root cause, yes, analyze again, develop again, execute again, and review again. Again and again and again until we solve the root cause. And my friends, during this try and error process, we build ourselves as well. We improve our personal skills as well. And we develop our network as well. And we are more and more nearer to our root cause. So don't give up. Keep trying until we get it one day. In JCI, we believe this. SDG is infinite game. There is no winner or loser in this game. Yet only the ultimate goal is we want to achieve the world peace together and ensure that this world peace is sustained to the end of the year, end of the world. So we are inviting all of the youngest today, even the kids as well, to join us in this SDGs movement, because we need more and more and more players in this so that we can achieve the SDG in within 8 years' time only. Another initiative JCI Malaysia doing is JCI Malaysia Sustainable Development Awards. because we believe that we want to motivate more, even school clubs, local councils, social enterprise, many of these publics to join this SDG movement. And we believe in this. This can work as a motivations. And if we are doing a good jobs, give us a chance to recognize you. And so that we can make your impact to the other space as well. And this is what of our past honoree have been shared that when they won these awards, they have been invited to be a lot of the talk and sharing. And that's the part that they're able to share their impacts and teach those inviting them how to do more on SDGs. So I'm challenging all of you today to start an SDG actions. And if you're doing well, give her a chance to recognize you. A quick wrap up would be, remember my friends, take the actions, solve the root cause and make it sustainable. So you may think about this now. You may write it down if you have a notebook, or you can actually take out your phone to ask yourself, what is your next step after today, after these summits, going out of this hall? What are you going to do after this? What is your commitment to yourself to change the world? Because the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I would like to add it with JCI action framework, because we make the actions. And dear all youngsters, youth can change the world, and every one of you are important. Thank you.
Very much, Joyien. That was amazing. Okay, so I'm actually a counseling student. So when Joyien was talking about that, hi, my counseling friends there. Nice to meet you. So basically when Joyien said that, I was able to relate something with Alfred Adler's theory when in counseling sessions. So Adler says this, that especially in family counseling, what happens is the goal of the theory is that at the end of the day, the individual and the family should have a positive integration into the society that they live in, positive contributors to society. And that is the goal of Adler when he proposed his theory. So it's fun how we have opportunities, we have frameworks existing like the JCI framework, just that we do not know where to look. So here is Joyien to provide you the perspective of JCI framework. Thank you once again, Joyien. And so next is the last person for this dialogue session who is going to give you a different perspective, an individual perspective. Where's Pristine? Pristine, hi.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Hi, Pristine.
Hello.
Can I? Okay, cool. So Pristine here is going to give us her journey of how she has developed in localizing SDGs and the activities that she has involved with JCI Malaysia, and globally how she has impacted. So, like what Joyien said, you can be the change. So, who is this? Pristine is going to give you the perspective that she has indeed made the change. Pristine, are you ready?
Yes, yes.
All right, cool. Over to you.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to have me here today. I'm very glad and pleased that I can share with everyone here on my journey on how I get along with SDGs. When you are in 15 or younger age, what can we do to change the world? Good morning, I am Pristine. The topic I'm going to share today is along the way in SDG. Firstly, I would like to let everyone know that actually I am total zero knowledge on SDGs when at my young age. Let me share to you is my journey to involve in SDGs. The very first SDG came into my life is in 2016, which is Goal 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. This Goal 12 knowledge came to me when I joined the camp, which is organized by JCI Pro. There is a speaker sharing on what is Goal 12, and the camp is focused on water. The speaker explained to us that water is precious, priceless, how important water is for all living things, and the way on how to save water from our daily life. There is a drawing competition session during the camp as well. We are freely to create whatever we want in our drawing as long as it's focused on saving water and awareness. Very happy that I won the first runner-up in the drawing competition. The next SDG knowledge came to me is gender equality. I registered myself as volunteer helper for Women Run in year 2018. The objective for the run is to promote gender equality, which are women's society awareness, empower women empowerment, to encouraging healthy lifestyle, and also to celebrate International Women's Day together with Penang State Government. I start to understand why we need to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Gender bias is undermining our social fabric and develops all of us. It is not just a human right issue. It is just a huge waste of world humans' potential by denying women equal rights. We deny half of the population a chance to live life at its fullest. Political, economic, and social equality for women will benefit all the world citizens. Together, we can reduce bias and work for equal rights and respect for all. I also support the celebration of International Women's Day. In 2019, Balance for Better. A balanced world is a better world. Balance for Better is centered around forging a more gender-balanced world. It is about celebrating women's achievement, raising awareness against bias, and taking action for equality. In 2020, Each for Equal, to draw attention to the idea that gender inequality isn't a woman's issue, but an economic one, as gender equality is essential for economics and communities to thrive. In 2021, choose to challenge. We can choose to challenge and call out gender bias and inequalities and help to create more inclusive world. And in 2022, break the bias. Whether deliberate or unconscious, bias make it difficult for women to move ahead. Knowing that bias doesn't exist enough, action is needed to level the playing field. Individually, we are all responsible for our own thoughts and actions. All day, every day, we can break the bias in our communities. We can break the bias in our workplace. We also can break the bias in our school, college, and universities. In year 2019, JCI Pro Board of Directors endorsed to affiliate JCI Junior Club for Penang Chinese Girls High School. During that time, I am the secretary of my school choir club. I volunteered to assist JCI Pro in managing the school administration, submitting documents, and arranging for JCI Pro members to meet with the school principal and BKKK. Because this is a new club has just been established, many students do not know what is JCI. So I arranged a session with school for JCI members to introduce this new club to school students. I'm very glad that during the first meeting, I was elected as the charter president for this new club. And also present to you all, these pretty young ladies are the elected board of directors for the new club. I actively participated activities, and one of the activities that I participated in 2020 is Introductory to Sustainable Development Goals. From there, I gained the basic knowledge of our SDG 17 goals. And also very fortunate that I won the top 3 most participative members during the sharing. The third SDG knowledge came to me is Goal 6, which is clean water and sanitation. I am very glad that I have been given the opportunities to represent JCI Malaysia to attend JCI Japan's project, which is Smile by Water. There are total 6 of us from high school being selected to represent JCI Malaysia to be the 2020 Global Youth United Nations Ambassador. We are divided into different groups. From there, we got the opportunity to meet with other country high school participants. We have our own small discussion which we share our culture and our ideas. I believe that everyone knows that water is an important resource that plays a very important role in human life and health. Many people lack access to safe drinking water and many children under 5 die from sanitation-related disease. Throughout this project, only I understand that people depend on unsafe well and ponds as water resource for domestic use as well as for drinking water. Although they have some small incomes but must spend cash on household and medical due to waterborne disease such as diarrhea, fetching water from as well as daily burden for women and also the water costs put pressure on household spending. The purpose of this project, Smile by Water, is to bring Smile by providing easy access to clean water and sanitation in Cambodia. Let me share with you some of the slides which was done by my group. First, we draft out our content, start with analyze the problem in Cambodia, examine community needs. Community challenges cannot be solved without first understanding them. To enable communities to achieve sustainable impact, the community's needs must be analyzed and understood in first order to identify their root causes. Then how are we going to develop in our strategy, formulate sustainable solutions? By uniting the stakeholders from all sectors of society, projects are formulated to address the community's core needs and their root causes. Collaborates outline by uniting a project plan including goals, action, and desired outcomes. Solution target 3 integrate stages of community development that drives a community towards prosperity. After that, we are how we are going to execute, take action. Once the need and root cause has been identified, we can take action by mobilizing resources, relaying support and implementing the project plan. By combining resources, the community is unable to achieve even greater sustainable impact. And lastly, we need to review, monitor, and evaluate results. It is important to monitor progress throughout the project to determine if the goals and intended impact are on track to be achieved. Finally, analyze data to measure the resulting positive change. The slide is from one of my group members. He is from Thailand. Talk about educate them on how to wash their hands with clean water. We believe that hygiene is the foundation of healthy living. Good health is the key to happiness and home is the center for family life. And this is the certificate that I received at the 2020 Global Youth United Nations Ambassador. From the knowledge I gained on SDG, I felt that SDG is very important as it provides worldwide guidance for addressing the global challenges facing the international community. It is about better protecting the natural foundation of our life and planet everywhere and for everyone. The preserving people opportunities to live in dignity and prosperity across generations. I planned SDG training for my school JCI Junior Club. After discussion and meeting with my team, we invite trainer to introduce SDG to my club members so that they can have at least basic knowledge on SDGs. As the charter president of the club, I also start planning to have project related to SDG as I want to let many more people to know what is SDG. One of my juniors, Shen Zheng, agreed to take up the challenge to be the organizing chairperson for our JJC online camp. We formed our committee and planned for our project. And finally, we decided to focus on Goal 6, Peace, Justice, Goal 16, Peace, Justice, and Strong Institution. We invited speaker Ms. Joelle Ng to our camp to share on SDG to our participants. At the end of our camp, there is group presentation session from each group. They are sharing on their own group discussion topic, which is focused on Goal 16. Group 1, they presented on the topic of drugs abuse, which may cause many community problems. Group 2, they presented on the topic of school bullying. Group 3 presented on family favoritism. Group 4 presented on cyberbullying. Group 5 presented on peace of mind for teens. Group 6 presented on domestic violence. Group 7 also presented the same topic with Group 6 on domestic violence, and Group 8 presented on the topic of war. Group 9 presented on child abuse, and last group, Group 10 presented on the topic of racism. Goal 16, which was shared in the camp, is to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. People everywhere need to be free from fear from all forms of violence and feel safe as they go about their life, whatever they ethnicity, faith, or sexual orientation, promote inclusion and respect towards people for different ethnic origins, religions, gender, sexual orientations, or different opinions. Together, we can help to improve conditions for a life of dignity for all. We do hope that all participants attend this camp to understand and gain the knowledge from the camp. I always believe that knowledge sharing as a driver for achieving our goals. As for me, from zero knowledge on SDG, with the participation and actively get involved in activities, gain the knowledge and then bring the knowledge back to school own club, share the knowledge, organize the camp, impact about 100 students from 8 schools, and hopefully all those participants may bring back the knowledge gained from the camp to their school respectively and create more impact projects to help our local community. Thank you. That's all for my sharing today.
Very big round of applause for Pristine again. Thank you, Pristine. So, now it's question and answer session. And I hope, I would like to actually keep my word on what I said earlier. So, volunteers, just, you can start to pick out people. But before that, due to time constraints, we're taking 3 and 1 question per speaker. So if you would like to address your question to Pristine, you may address your question to Pristine. If you'd like to address your question to Faiz, you may address, and similar to Joyien too. So before that, I would like to ask you, 3 of you, a question. But I'll cut short. I had 2 questions prepared, but probably I'll take 1 of them so that we are in time for the lunch and networking session. I hope you're okay. Your stomachs are not growling. Hopefully. Okay, so starting with Faiz, 3 of you, the same questions, but I'll start with Faiz, okay?
Alright, sure.
So, Faiz, one thing has been in common actually for 3 of you in your perspective of presentations, which is, of course, if you guys recognized it, it's the call to action. So, therefore, why do you think that in the core of human nature should those who have listened to you, your audience, actually should take the action or should take your perspective and put it in action and make a change? Why?
All right, I'll go first. Okay, so why people should take such, both speakers come out with this caps lock of action, the word action. Why you should take action after our session? Because in my perspective, only time and sky is the limit, you know. As what I've mentioned before, what we have pledged so far, we've passed the Vision 2020. We are 2 years ahead of that. And we are not even achieving the whole sum of that particular policy. So SDG 2030 is the next 8 years, maybe less, more or less. So, you know, there's no time if we are not start from now. So that's why I came out with a phrase that I hope everyone could take it as key takeaways. Build your own collective. Start to find out what and which possible parts of your organization, of you as individuals, which role can be integrated in order to achieve, it's not only solely one goal, but at least multiple goals of 17 SDGs today. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Faiz. Thank you for that. So basically, if you notice, all three of them, I'm actually giving you and promoting this whole session so that you can brainstorm questions to ask the speakers. So again, another option or idea that I would like to bring to your mind is that if you notice, Faiz gave the bigger picture perspective from what we can do as policymakers or those above, while Joyien gave the perspective of what you can do as organizations or communities. And finally, Pristine gave the perspective of what you can do as individuals. So I hope that sparked a little bit of curiosity in you. And so I'd like to call one of our volunteers. Could you we have a deaf participant to ask a question. So our interpreter will interpret the question.
Hello, everyone. I want to represent our deaf participants here, and I want to thank the organizers for the opportunity to attend this. And on behalf of me and my team, we find that all the topics are very valuable. The strategic partners, the development of communities, and so forth. So the question is, if you think that there are some SDGs programs or whatever that could benefit the deaf people or could provide the awareness and impart with them the positive thinking, would there be an opportunity?
Thank you. Round of applause. All right. Can this question be addressed to Joyien? Joyien, could you give us your perspective on this?
I missed the middle parts of the questions. I mean, I'm only able to listen that the behind parts. So can please help to rephrase the questions a bit?
Okay. Okay, let me rephrase the questions. I want to know, we have a number of strategic partners here, a number of youth. So my question is, would this partnership or would you provide that opportunity for the deaf community to be a part of it? Like, you know, strengthening our grassroots, our children, our teens, our youth in this area, the SDG.
All right. Okay, get it. Thank you so much for the questions. And first of all, I want to say that it's very great to hear this from you. And you see, when we talk about SDG, we say leave no one behind. That's mean inclusion of everyone, no matter of the disabilities, no matter of the gender, no matter of the job experience. We are all having our different perspective. And this will be great if we can have a chance to come up with whether a workshop or the design thinking sections together, then we can learn more how we can actually help each other and also input the ideas for the deep persons. And I'm very thankful for this opportunity because before I come in this summit, I have no networks into deep persons parts. And now since this create a platform and opportunities for us to meet, and I believe we should and we must include everyone of this community have a chance to sit down together to plan the futures that we want to have it together. And different perspective, whether for deaf, blind, different job experience, different gender, etc., of different ideas of young people, we can have a greater big picture, and then we can have a better plan of actions to make it to it. And yes, if there is a chance, I would like to have this opportunity to include all of the different young people, no matter who you are, as long as we have the same visions to help this world to make better, we can sit down together and discuss together on this.
Thank you from Kimberly. Once again, thank you for the question. And so let's go back to the question that I asked to Pristine and Joyien. So Pristine and Joyien, first we'll start off with Pristine, yeah? One thing has been in common, again, in your perspective presentations, the call to action. So why do you think your audience should take this call to action and make a change? Pristine.
Thank you for the question. But actually, I hope that everyone listen to my story can take up one step forward so that we can achieve our goals and we can live in a better world.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Pristine. And so, Joyien, what about you? The same question, and give me your perspective. Give us your perspective.
Yeah, well, I think I'm the lucky one as today as well. There are so many mentors and seniors who have been helping me when I joined JCI, when I still fresh graduates from the school. And my life changed after it, and I get a job and found my value, directions, purpose of life, and I found that I actually can contribute back to the community. So with this experience, when I look back at the surroundings, there are many times I'm asking myself, what if I didn't join at that time? That's definitely most of the youth today who just graduates that we lost our directions once we graduate from the school. We don't know what we are going to do the next work. We don't know what we can do for the next. So the desire to help those like me on that time become a trigger to keep moving and keep taking the actions. So helping people, especially young people, to find out their best is a factor that made me so motivated to keep continue. And the moment I can see that when I help more people, I believe that when people are able to bring out their best actions, the world will be different. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyien. That was wonderful. And Pristine too. Because as you see, as what Faiz and all three of them said, that again, like what Faiz mentioned, the sky and time is the limit. But something to take away is that you won't recognize that the sky is the limit if you don't look up to the sky. So what we mean by this is that when opportunities arise, reach out for it, like what Pristine did. Okay, two more questions. One for, who is it? Faiz, and one for Pristine. Our volunteers, have you identified anyone who is going to ask the questions? Do we have any questions? Yes, sorry, I didn't see. Yes, please. Can someone pass her the mic? Pristine can, or they can hear the question.
Hello. Right. Good day, everyone. My question is probably to Faiz. Okay, my name is Putri. I am from Finlandia. We are a social impact advisory firm, so basically a social enterprise. So I would like to know, how would you see, Faiz, on your perspective, the role of social enterprise in localizing the SDGs? That would be the question.
All right, thank you for the question. So, in terms of my perspective, I think one keyword that I would say to answer your question is collaborative. That's what comes to the story of my research, where we collaborated with McDonald's Malaysia. Even McDonald's is such a big name. It's not a social or SMEs companies in Malaysia. But one thing for sure, we cannot do this particular action alone. So as a social enterprise, what's most matter is for us to reach out to the perhaps other organization or maybe the youth movement that also look forward to localize these particular SDGs. So then only in terms of projects, I would say university students actually, there are tons of projects, particularly in this particular area. So perhaps a social enterprise to be partnered with university would be one of the bright engagement, I would say, in Malaysian context. So for instance, I would say one of in UM perspective is we do have so-called Students Body Secretariat Sukarelawan University Malaya, or SACRM, a volunteering student body. And what partnership that have been done between SACRM and one of the organization from exercise is Medicine Malaysia, EIMM, to achieve the third SDG, if I'm not mistaken, the healthy lifestyle. So from this partnership, because sometimes students have the idea, but enterprise is the one that will help the ideation from students to come out in practicalities and what they demand from the industry. So from this particular collaboration between university and enterprise, or even enterprise with other movements, will come to certain projects for sure will accelerate the achievements of this SDG agenda. Thank you. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Faiz, once again. And so we have one more question to Pristine, actually. So yes, oh, nice. One person, please pass the mic to the participant.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sebastian from CHEMS Education of Sarawak. So we're here with our delegates. You say hello, everyone. Okay, so our question here is for, I think, all three speakers, yeah? Because we have different levels of partners on stage today. The reality of SDGs is, it is a perfect branding opportunity. The corporates are coming in and riding on the bandwagon. The NGOs are using it to streamline their efforts. Everyone's coming on. Yeah? Lots of projects coming on. Face value to deep projects. What message do you have for the SDG community today? Any advice for us? What safeguards should we put in place so that we will not bastardize the SDGs?
Thank you for your question. Pristine, would you like to take this question? So to summarize the question is, what is your takeaway message for the community, the SDG community that is present here, so that SDGs will be localized in your perspective? Would you like to say?
For my suggestion is to be the young active citizens by having a good mentor, and also be actively participated in the activities like for SDG or anything. Yeah, this is my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Pristine. And yes,
I'm sorry, George. I think you have misunderstood my message.
okay, yes, please.
Yes. So the question is to all speakers.
Okay.
We would like to have a take home from all three or all four of you, or three of you actually, about this, the bastardizing of the SDGs. Corporates coming in to make it their branding, and then like murals talking about plastic in the ocean, you know, or waving flags of the SDGs, and then efforts are not seen. You play such a strong role on stage, and you're telling us what to do and how to collaborate. Please leave us with a message, and we will leave it on this live stream so that everyone will hear. Thank you.
Yes, thank you once again. So, I would like to hear from, okay, Joyien, you are unmute, so would you like to say something
Yeah.
about it? Yes.
First of all, thank you, Sebastians, for very good questions. Really a good questions that everyone here can think about it. Yes, SDG become a kind of branding that when more people, especially our listed company coming in, and that there's no deny, a lot of companies start going in with greenwashing purpose. But how SDG actually did it? Think back of why we need to have SDG today. Imagine the world before had SDG, before had SDGs. Everyone is talking about to have a world peace. But how to have a world peace? The word world peace come in, people will think of, oh, there is no war, then there's no world peace. But SDG is a collective survey results from all of the United Nations countries that we come out that we understand that all the resources in this world is limited. So imagine if there is no water in the future, the water will become another war reason. Same here for the environments, for the socials, for the economy. All of these 17 goals details will become a reason of war if we did not protect it. Hence, everyone need to think back when we do SDG is not for the greenwash purpose, but remember the core value of SDG is to create a world peace. So when we come up the project for SDG, it should be aligned with our core value of the organization or even the corporate as well. It's not that we are doing a project of SDG and say that yes, we commit to SDG. No, we need to first implement it by reflecting our core value first. And when we talk about how actually young people can localizing SDG, it's a very good guideline. SDG is a very good guideline for us to understand and notify and aware that what is happening in our surroundings. Remember this, leave no one behind. This message means that look at around your surrounding, serve the most vulnerable in the local community. Most vulnerable means not only people, also our environments and also entrepreneurs, etc. Because social, economy, and also environment is a 3 dimensions that we want to balance so that we can achieve the world peace. It's not that, okay, we sacrifice the environment and contribute for social and business. That's a wrong mindset and misunderstanding about SDG. We should balance these 3 dimensions, and then we see our local community. Now, which one is the most vulnerable? And we take action on it. When we achieve one of it, we can influence the other. And this is how SDG work link with each others. So for me, SDG is a values to create a world peace and a very good guideline for us to start and aware that actually the issues that we see now will become a war reasons if we do not achieve it. So it's kind of, when we go through all indicators, we can find more. Just like we say prejudice and discrimination, even though this is a very small thing, but then when you reflect back into the SDG 16, actually it will become a reason of bullying. So just by stop there, we can do something. And then for all social enterprise and also corporate, please look at SDG into our organization core value. Make it into a value that we will be proud of it. That's all for my answer. Thank you, Philus.
Thank you, Joyien. And okay, Faiz, why don't you also give your perspective on this?
So, the key takeaway, I purposely pop up my presentation with the national policies, because when we talk about SDG is about the global agenda. So I think one thing that most matter from every organization, or even the students' bodies, the enterprise, corporate, even the governments that should take, is how we can adapt that particular global goals into our own scale, And the problem with our policy nowadays, it's so-called, I would say, sometimes there is such huge disparities between the government officials and the execution of the people, even the organization, whoever that want to execute the part. There is such disparities. So we need to go back to their policy. In our role, we need to go back to their policies to make sure what their idealization is and how we can scale down and relate to our core values together in order to achieve the national agenda and the SDG agenda. And besides, that's our role. But in terms of government, as what I pointed out before in my own sharing session, is we need the elders with their experience and wisdom. But in this case, who will inherit the system? It is all of us, the youth. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Faiz, too, for the perspective given. And a little something to take away too is that basically this is, of course, as our next session will be networking session and lunch. So take this opportunity to go and interact with fellow organizations and individuals who are change makers to start your action. Because as all three members or all three speakers had pointed out, it is the call to action. And similarly, a little something that I would like to point out is the project by Empower Youth Platform Asia, EYP Asia, on T-Labs. So basically, it is experiential learning, where you learn, or children or youths learn through experience. So, like what our speakers and esteemed guests had already pointed out, it is by experience that we learn. And similarly to what Immanuel Kant said, right, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said that civilization is the results of the availability of tools. So with that, we are here as organizations and individuals who represent a change-making community. Let us group together. Let us talk to each other. Let us network with each other and start an experiential difference that we can make out after today, starting the hour after you leave, or maybe even the minute after I end this session. Okay, with that, we thank you, and thank you, esteemed speakers, for today. Faiz, Pristine, and Joyien, thank you very much. And thank you to esteemed guests and audience who had listened to us. Thank you.